Why, hello. Welcome back, I guess. It's been a hot second. In case you couldn't tell by the title of this video, which is to be determined soon-ish, I guess. I'm building Twilight Sparkle's house. Well, her original house in, the series, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Anywho, yeah, it's been a hot second. College is fun. Anyways, so just getting straight on into the video, I suppose. I was kind of just doom scrolling for a while, and then I rediscovered in my midst panic of avoiding to study for my finals, My Little Pony, and I remembered how like magical her house is, I guess. So I was like, what's better than doing what I'm actually supposed to do and be studying for my classes? And what if I build Twilight Sparkle's library? Now, before everyone starts panicking, it's like, oh, you should study, It's okay, guys. I did this, or most of this, on one of my like 3-day breaks or like long weekends or whatever, before life got too serious to where I had to devoid myself of all fun. But it's okay, because college is over, at least for another like 13-14 days until I start summer classes. LOL, it's okay, it's only one class. So I got to finish this. I was supposed to post this like 3 years ago, oh my gosh, but you know how that rolls. So let's get into it, shall we? So starting off, I'll post a couple of like little reference pictures. I really didn't know how well to start it, so I started building it with a shape that I knew, and I know cylinders, so I did a kind of cylindrical design, as you can see. Oh my god, I just hit my elbow. It's okay, we're good. But yeah, so this one's not gonna be so much like tutorial, but more just me kind of yapping alongside of the build process. But I can give you some tips and tricks, I guess. I don't know if I'm qualified to speak, but here we are, so that's what we're doing. Now, and so you'll see that I kind of start to build up off of the cylinder, and I really, like I said, I didn't know how to start this because I don't think I've ever built a tree to this scale in Minecraft before. So once I had like a known shape that I knew how to work around, I just started pulling off like little limbs for roots, kind of trying to follow the reference photos. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of difficult, and you'll see as we go a little farther into it. But with My Little Pony being a 2D animation, trying to get the perspective on some things is gonna be a little different when you're translating it to 3D and also into blocks. So have some grace, have some mercy with me. But yeah, I tried to stick as close as I could. A few things will be different, but it really shouldn't differ too far in the scheme of, I guess, life. I don't know. Now, just when you're making something similar, like if you're making like a tree house or something and you're building a tree, a quick thing I learned from doing this just kind of on my own and trying to play around for a while, that you're gonna want, and this seems so obvious, when you're making roots that are going to the ground, and like that are coming out from the ground, you know, kind of going in that little whoop-de-whoop, you know, shape, you really don't want it to be symmetric on either side of the tree. That's gonna look a little funky. It can be similar in shape, in direction, in like where it's going, but in terms of like actual amount of blocks, give yourself some variety, because nature is always going to be unique and it's not going to be consistent. And you can see that especially in like the My Little Pony universe, and the way they draw trees and the way they draw nature and just all their like little plant life. It's very much art, like it has an artistic style to it and flair for the cartoon, but it's also representative of nature just being, you know, silly willies. And you know, I think I don't know, something about this build really, like, it resonated with me because it brought me back to that time in childhood when you don't have worries and you have your heroes. And My Little Pony was one of those shows for me. It was peace, and I find myself, I come back to it when I feel like the world itself is caving in. And I think that it's important to show kids that it's okay to struggle, and it's okay to doubt yourself, and the importance of friendship that is there to help with that. I think that's such a beautiful message to show kids. And so, you know, when I was going through this semester in school, it was a little rough. It was very stressful, but after all, you can see that there's a end in sight, and that you can make it through. Anyway, moving on, because that's just, it's getting a little too sappy for me. But no, My Little Pony has been such a good part of my life. And even now that I'm all grown up and, you know, doing big adult things, I think it's nice to feel like a kid sometimes. So, and also I think I chose this because I couldn't like stop thinking about school while I was doing this, and I'm like, I should really be focusing on school while building a library, because Twilight Sparkle was always focused on learning. And I think that says something about me, I'm not gonna lie. I always have loved Twilight so much. I picked her day one. She's my day one. And I think you can see it now in my choices for education. But yeah, I aspire to have the consistency that Twilight has to study. But, you know, we'll get there someday, I guess. On a different note, when I was working through this part of the build, I was really struggling trying to create, you know, the little windows that the house has in the upper branches. Because I wanted it to look like branches, and I wanted it to look like it was curving around these windows. But when actually trying to sculpt them, I was losing my mind just a little bit. It was a little painful, but it's okay. We live, laugh, love, we learn. And I just think it was a skill issue for me, and I need to get better. Now, I'll be honest, I just finished all the seasons of Friendship is Magic recently. I think it was like January or something like that. Finally got through all the episodes because they stopped airing it on whatever TV I used to watch as a kid, so I've only seen like the first 4 seasons maybe through Netflix, and for some reason Netflix doesn't freaking have the rights to the other seasons, so I didn't have access to that for a while. It's fine, all is solved, but I finished the ending and I was like, what do you mean Twilight is immortalized and she has to watch all her best friends grow old while she's sitting there and she knows she's going to live much longer than they are. And I don't think we truly know if alicorns live forever or not, but I was shook again. It shocked me. I was very sad for her because it truly hurt. And I think as a friend, it's such a sad thing to think about. You know, your best friends live with you throughout all this hardship and everything you face, and you have to accept the fact that one day you're gonna have to say goodbye to each of them. Each of them. She's gonna have to sit through all of their funerals. Anyways, so I choose to just kind of block out the last 2 episodes of that series, and I live in the world in which that doesn't exist. I live in my own world, actually. I live in the land of denial. It's my homeland, in which I choose to see my own reality. But yeah, so that was pretty sappy and sad, but you know. And I don't even want to consider talking about what they're doing to the new generation, because what is going on over there. But it's not my concern. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I'm gonna be so honest, I don't understand how the world fell into chaos in which the ponies don't like each other. The different, alicorns, earth ponies, and not alicorns, I mean Pegasi, unicorns, and earth ponies, whatever, don't like each other anymore. How does that happen after Twilight Sparkle? And it's like not terribly long after her existence. But you know what? We're just, it doesn't exist. It never happened. Anywho, moving on. Just another little, I guess, tip. This isn't full of them, but as you can see, when I was working through, like, trying to figure out how to do the leaves of the treetop, first off, this part took me 10,000 years. I think it ended up taking me like 2 or 3 hours, because when you're looking at the reference photo here, you'll see that there's a color switch in terms of leaves. So I sat here for a while, because obviously in Minecraft you don't really have the pastel-y colors. I mean, I'm sure I could import and do stuff, but that's a little too much effort for me. And plus, if you guys want to try this too, I try to make my stuff as accessible as possible and as like easy to understand, even if it's not necessarily a tutorial. Like, this isn't really a tutorial, it's just a yap. But so I decided, after like a bunch of contemplation, I was like, okay, we're just gonna throw all the leaves on here. We're just gonna do all of them. And I think it turned out pretty well. It gave a good gradation and like different textures for everyone to see. I think it worked out in that sense of creating different texture while still having that like cohesiveness, so you can still recognize, like, oh, this is a tree house. Well, yeah, a tree house. Get a tree house? Because it's a tree that's a house, but it's not, like, the house isn't on the tree, it's in the tree, so it's a tree house. I know, I'm hilarious. I'm so sorry. Anyways, so that's kind of where that came from, and you'll see I just worked this out through a bunch of big chunks of these blocks, and since the build is so big, it works out in my favor in this way, because I kind of tested off camera a couple of different things where I used the blocks in smaller chunks, so I had more variation in smaller chunks of like parts of the treetop, and it looked very busy and unreadable. So if you're gonna try something kind of like this scale, just even in general, like if you're doing a roof and you want to do a different textured roof on a house, try blocking it out, because sometimes you can get away with how detailed it is, but since leaves in general are pretty busy in Minecraft, the texture on them, it's typically better to simplify it when you can, and it makes the rest of it readable. It also helps that in this build, I normally do various types of like blocks for a wall, so like I would typically use multiple types of wood or blocks on the tree trunk itself, but because I'm lazy, honestly, and I didn't want to have to keep switching between blocks to build the massive tree trunk, because by the time I got done with doing just the first part of the tree trunk, I was exhausted. I was like, oh my god, this will take 10,000 years. So that also helped keep it where I could have it a bit more busy on the leaves, but still chunking it out and making it readable also correlates back to the cartoon. So it kind of just ties the whole part of, you know, My Little Pony back into itself. And I cannot explain to you the existential dread when I logged back on and I saw I still had half of the back of the tree to do. So just for, like I said before, I started this while I was still in school, and this had to have been like January, February maybe, when I had started this, and I had gotten through just about up to this point in terms of like actually making the tree. And I logged off, and I obviously haven't posted in like 3 months, and that's because of school. So I logged on like maybe a week ago, I think it was, and I was like, oh my god, I have to do all this, like, crash out, that's what it was. It was very much like, it was painful, because I also wanted it to look decent. I didn't want to just like half do it and like make it a cruddy job and regret spending all this time that I've already invested in it. And you know, I thought about like what's her face, Sylvia. I thought about doing that, like the back of my dress, or back of my wardrobe's not my problem, back of my hair is not my problem, and I almost did that, but unfortunately I care too much. The overachiever in me could never. So I painstakingly did this. Not a big deal though. It's really, I'm just dramatic. That's what this is. I'm dramatic. But yeah. Oh, and you will see in the final shot, I ended up changing the glass on all of these parts to, I'm pretty sure, a purple. I spent like 20 minutes just changing it over and over off camera because I didn't like it. I wanted to try and get that effect that they have in the cartoon. And obviously on the windows, like you can see the different threads of the tree itself through the panes of the window. Unfortunately, I'm not skilled enough to download a mod or do anything like that would give me that capability of such detail, so you're gonna have to bear with me. This is the Minecraft application. But yeah, I think I ended up going with the purple. The purple looked like it fit a bit better than the yellow. As much as I liked the yellow and the regular pane, I did everything the same color in the end, just for cohesiveness sake and like consistency. Now, if you've seen any of my videos before, you know I am a sucker for some landscaping details. It is unfortunately a problem I have. Now, I could have stopped right where I was and it would have been fine. It would have been acceptable. It would have been beautiful. But no, I could never. I can't, unfortunately. So to try and make it a little bit more, I don't know, what's the word? I guess more nature-y, more how I feel would the tree library would be in real Minecraft life. You know, yeah, real Minecraft life. That's what this is, real Minecraft life. So I added some different blocks. I used a bunch of like vines and moss and some, I think, dry bushes and a bunch of random stuff to try and kind of make it more engulfed in the land. And I think it's kind of like Twilight's house in the cartoon, correct me if I'm wrong, is just in the middle, like Ponyville, but I do feel like it's just a tree, so I feel like she still has, you know, all the lush liveliness of the tree, so that would include all the little details that keep it rooted in the earth. So I wanted to, you know, add that. I also used like some mangrove roots, which I really ended up liking because it was such a similar color to the cherry bark that I originally used for the wood of the trunk. So it added some slight texture difference, but it wasn't so stark that I like could easily tell. And I guess the last little tidbit of wisdom I have for you is the path that I'm working on. I use this technique. I don't know what it is, if there's a name for it or anything special, but basically it's just like my I think I'm gonna call it my, like, what is it, my potluck or something like that, because basically I just take a bunch of different blocks and I kind of just throw them all together. So I did like the path block, and then like some coarse dirt, some eroded dirt, rooted dirt, whatever kind of dirt you can think of, it's in there. And then I put some bushes and whatnot in little pieces of grass, and that really just kind of tied it all together there at the end. Typically I also like to put some rocks, but I didn't really think that the build needed it, so I didn't include it in this one. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll definitely be posting more often now that I'm officially on summer break. And if you like this, I am willing to do a second part to this video, and do the inside of her library. So yeah, let me know what you think, anything you guys need or want. Always here for ya. As always, be good people, do great things. Love you.